Despite the rejection, despite the denial, despite everybody saying no, God said yes. You only need one yes.
You different. I know you was God given. God given. God gives and he take away. I'm just
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl, Zarinah Elizabeth. And if you've never seen my face before, this is a lifestyle channel. Over here, we talk everything faith, fitness, motherhood, and everything in between. So I just wanted to come on here and give a real-time testimony and let you know and remind you, if you aren't aware and if you don't already know, that God is still in the blessing business. Okay, God is a good God. He is a holy God. He is a caring God, a loving God, a compassionate God. He is a fair God. He is sovereign, and he cares about the things that we care about. And the things that concern us concern him. And there is nothing too big or too small for him. So come to him in prayer in all things, because the things that concern us concern him. Right? And we have to remember that. We have to keep in mind and always have at the forefront of my mind, or the forefront of our mind, who God is. Let me put my seatbelt on, y'all. So we always have to have on the forefront of our minds who God is. Who is the God that we serve? Who is the God that we serve? He is the God that split the Red Seas. You understand? So that he could save his people. He literally split the seas so that they could walk on solid ground. He drove demons out of people. He healed people of leprosy. He healed the woman with the issue of blood just by her simply touching his clothing. Do you understand? He is a good God. He is a sovereign God. He is a holy God. And he is still in the blessing business. So let me just go back without telling all of my business. So I had a situation where, how can I begin? So I had a situation where it's kind of been like an ongoing thing. It's kind of been an ongoing thing. And I've been praying to God, asking God to help me with the situation. And not just help me with the situation, but help me, like, not just to get me out of the situation, but to also help me be a better steward over the situation in the future, so that I don't find myself back in the situation. Like, allow me to get over the situation, but give me the wisdom and the tools and the stewardship so that I'm able to manage the situation and that it's not a recurring thing. And, so that's been my prayer for a while. And the enemy knows where to attack you. He knows where you are weak. And even though we may do things thinking it's innocent, I'm doing it for a good reason. I am, I want to, whatever the case may be, you think that you're doing it for a good reason. And even though it may not actually be any harm in what you're doing, is it the will of God for you to do in that moment? Did you consult God? Did you ask God, do I need to do this? Is there some other way that I could do this? Because we need to be seeking him and asking his counsel in every single thing. But a lot of times in my situation, and I'll speak for myself, I do things because I think it's no harm in me doing what I'm doing, and it's out of the kindness and goodness of my heart because of the type of person that I am. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do this, and I don't always consult God until after the fact, and I find myself in a situation and I'll be like, So we need to be yielding to the Holy Spirit on a regular basis. We need to be asking God's wisdom and guidance and counsel in every situation. So I have been praying, for God to bless me with the situation, bless me in this circumstance, help me with the tools that I need to maintain and the wisdom that I need to keep myself out of this repeated situation. And yet again, I found myself back in a situation. I'm just like, but at this point in my walk, I know that God is with me, right? The first couple of times that this would happen, I would be so fearful. I would be so angry that I put myself in a situation, fearful that I wasn't going to be able to get out of the situation, prideful because I didn't want to have to share what I was going through with anybody else. I've always been a very hyper independent person. I don't know if it's just because the way I was raised. I don't know. But I've always been very independent, and so to have to ask anybody for help or, share a weakness about myself to anybody has always been a struggle, but that's nothing but the spirit of pride, right? So, I found myself in this situation again, and had this been, a couple of years ago, a year ago, a few months ago, maybe, I might have been fearful. I might have been prideful. I might have been angry. I might have been, that scared me. Okay, there's a big truck that pulled up alongside of me, but the way that it looked like it was much closer to me, and it didn't look like a truck. But anyway, that's what I get for recording and driving at the same time. So y'all don't do this. Park your car and then talk. So I would have felt so fearful, had it been, last year or something like that, a year before then. But through this process, that's why you got to trust the process, because through this process, God has been teaching me to trust him, right? God has been teaching me that he is here with me. He hears my cries. He collects my tears. He hears my prayers, and he honors my prayers. He honors my obedience. He honors that my heart truly wants change, that I truly want to be a better person, that I truly want to align my thoughts with his thoughts, or his thoughts with my thoughts. I don't want it to be me. I want it to be him, right? And he hears me, and he has been showing himself faithful to me in the ways that I need to see him. Because what is God? He is I am. So that means he is whatever we need, whenever we need, however we need. He already is. He is I am. So how I need him to show up for me, he shows up for me. And he's been teaching me to trust him. He's been teaching me to stay obedient to him. He's been teaching me that he is in control. He is in control, that I can actually rest. That soft girl life that I've been wanting, I have. He is the husband to the widow. He has been my husband during this time. In the areas where I lack, in all the areas that I lack, let me say it like that. He has had me, right? In every area that I have needed, whether it be comfort, whether it be companionship, whether it be counsel, whether it be whatever. He has had me, and he has shown me that he can be that he is faithful, and that I can trust, and that he will never leave me. He will never forsake me, right? That he is the husband to the widow. He is the father to the fatherless. He is all these things, and he shows me every day. So in this situation, I found myself back going through a situation, but I realized I didn't cry. I didn't have fear. My hope was strong. And even when the situation kept, nope, well, it's not going to happen. Another person, nope, well, probably ain't going to happen that way. Denied. Like every time I got a rejection, I stayed strong. My reaction was, all right, well, we'll just see. And then I rejoiced. And then I, was praising God, in advance. I was laughing. I was happy. I had true joy in my heart, true happiness in my heart, despite the denial, despite the rejection, despite the no's, despite how bleak the situation was. I'm sitting on a train track, y'all. Again, don't drive and be recording. Despite how bleak the situation was, despite how it was looking in the natural, I kept my peace. He gave me peace that surpasses all understanding. Because somebody else in their natural mind would be flipping out, crying, worrying, how? And every time in my mind where I tried to figure out a solution, because that's the way our minds are wired. There's a problem, our brain is going to try and figure out a problem, figure out a solution for the problem. But God said, I am the solution. I am the solution to this problem. There's no way that it's going to work out without me. And so every time my mind tried to figure out a solution to the problem, I just started rejoicing. I said, God got it figured out. I'm not going to drive myself crazy trying to figure out a solution to a problem that God already has an answer to. And so that's what I did. Every time a solution tried to pop up in my head, I was just like, God's got it. God's got it. Now let me not get off here. And so sure enough, I got the last denial, rejection, and no that, was from the highest up of the highest up that it could go. I got a denied. I got it like 6 o'clock in the evening. I happened to check my email. And I just put the phone down and I got on Bible study with my mother. So I got on Bible study with my mother. I didn't even tell my mom or anybody, because it's about God. I knew he was going to pull through for me. I didn't need the extra prayers. My mom is already praying for me. I know how to pray for myself. That's why y'all got to know how to pray. Y'all got to know what his word says so you can speak it over yourself each and every day. So it's not that I couldn't have used my mother's extra prayers, but I already knew that he had it under control. So even though I got that final rejection at 6 o'clock, I said, whatever, Bible study starts at 6:30. And it was actually about 6:15 that I looked. And I got on Bible study at 6:30. I'm getting my times wrong. So it was about 6 o'clock. I checked my email. Maybe a few minutes after 6, I checked my email. I got that final rejection. And then it was about 6:15. I said, let me jump on the Bible study. It starts at 6:30. So I'm just chatting with my mom, about the morning Bible study that I'm usually on with her and talking about that, and then getting ready to, get on with the rest of the ladies at 6:30. So we did our Bible study, 8 o'clock. We got off around about that time. And so I just happened to be going through my emails before I got on the next thing. And in my email was exactly what I needed. Despite the rejection, despite the denial, despite everybody saying no, God said yes. You only need one yes. There was no way possible that this was going to happen, because what I really needed was time. I needed time, right? And God's timing is perfect. We think oh, I need it now, or, we just need like things to feel comfortable and secure. But at the final hour, I got this email that was exactly what I needed. I double and triple checked, like, am I hallucinating? Because what? I was not expecting this. All I could do was laugh and rejoice in the spirit, because God is good. God is faithful. God cares about what we care about. He will never leave you or forsake you. He is our provider. He is our provider. I thought about Genesis, I think it's 26, when Abraham was asked to sacrifice his son, the son that he had been praying and believing for, the son that he had with Sarah. And God had came to him and told him that, I need you to go and sacrifice your son. I can only imagine what he felt having to sacrifice his son, the one that he prayed for all of these years, never having a son, the one that he prayed for, the one that was the promise, the one that God promised him he would have. And then he had to sacrifice him. But what happened? He didn't tell anybody. He didn't say, oh, this is it. God is, this and this and this and that. He just trusted and he had faith that God would provide. So even when he got up to the mount, his son was like, Daddy, we have, the wood and we have the knives, but where is the animal that we're going to sacrifice? And he said, don't worry, God is going to provide. And then he had other people walking with him up to the place of where they were going to, do the sacrifice. And he said, wait here. My son and I will be back down in a little while. So he was assured. He was speaking it, whether he fully felt it or not. It doesn't matter, because our feelings are fickle, right? Our feelings mean nothing. But he said with confidence, we'll be back down. You stay here, we'll be back down. His son said, where's the sacrifice? Like, we have the knife, we have the wood, but where's the animal? And he said, God will provide. All the way to the point where he had actually bound up his son and drawn the knife and was getting ready to slay his child. Then the angel of the Lord appeared and said, do not lay a hand on that child, for I have seen that you fully obey God and trust God. And then he looked off in the distance and he saw that God had provided a ram for the sacrifice. So even when things look like it's not going to happen, I don't know how it's going to happen, you got to trust God to know that it will, because God is faithful. He is our provider. He is our provider. And God has shown me time and time again, this is a testimony amongst many testimonies that I could share with you, how God has shown me that he will provide, that he will protect, that he cares about what I care about, that he loves me, that he will never forsake me, and that he is real. He is real. Because there's too many situations that I've had in my life where I can't give no one else the credit but him. So I just wanted to share my testimony with you guys, hoping that this will encourage you, hoping that this will let you know that you can put your faith in him and you can trust him to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you could ever think or ask. That he cares about you, he loves you, he hears you. He just wants you to trust him. And sometimes the journey to get you there is not going to be simple. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to feel good. But if you trust him and you obey him, he will take care of you. He will take care of you. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out, you guys. I hope, like I said, I hope this encourages you. I hope that, this encourages you to pray more, to ask God, to seek him, to know his word, to know what he says about you, to know what he wants you to do, to trust him. and that if you don't have a relationship, that this will encourage you and motivate you to get a relationship with him. To get a relationship with him, because he loves you before you loved him. Okay? So if this video resonates with you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment for me in the box below. Maybe share a testimony with me there. Or just let me know how you're doing today. Also, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, subscribe. We are a whole vibe. And I will check you out in the next video. See you Sunday. Bye.
You Proverbs 31 with it, huh? Yeah, I see. Oh, you Proverbs 31.